Good morning everyone, just a quick little video. I'd just like to thank everyone that subscribed. I've reached the 4,000 mark in the last day, and thank you for everyone that's subscribed. As you can see today, I've brought my babies in. These are the offspring of Freckles and Merlin. They're half Turkish tackler, quarter German owl and a quarter Archangel gimbals. They're super birds. I've been waiting a long time for this type of bird. Got high hopes for these two. I'm going to be training one, taking one indoors eventually. They're not quite old enough to leave their parents yet. They're 27 days old. Lovely birds. As far as intelligence, I've got a small flock of pigeons, as anyone follows me knows, and I've tried to breed intelligence into my birds. I've used a mixture of tacklers, homers and feral pigeons. My stock is getting to the stage now where I would start to inbreed, and that's something I really don't want to do, is inbreed my birds. So I brought in the gimbal cross. I've heard good things about the Archangel, so I'm going to introduce that to my bloodline. I get asked quite a lot, what do I think the most intelligent birds, and I mean that in the sense of when I'm doing the tricks and the games and the fun stuff and the training, what are the most intelligent pigeons? And sadly, I cannot answer that question. There's too many breeds. Every country nearly in the world have got several breeds to every country. And to ask me, what do I think the border collie of the pigeon world is, I couldn't answer that. I could have a guess, and my guess would be there would be racing pigeons, firstly, because racing pigeons, they're totally wired differently. You know, to get a bird, take it miles and miles away from its home, train it to come back, and that will find its way even to many countries to come back to where it lives. It's totally wired different brain wise, and I do think that racing pigeons are extremely intelligent birds. You take one of those into a home situation where they've not got to worry about predators or anything like that. There's a lot of brain space there, and you can see that the scientists use them quite a bit for training purposes. And the other bird that I do believe, probably secondly, is the feral pigeon. Now, the reason I think the feral pigeon is a very intelligent pigeon is because it lives on its wits. It has to work its own way out. They live in big flocks, and they have to work out what food is. They're closely associated with man. They've cottoned on to the fact the closer they live to man, the better they survive. So feral pigeons are extremely intelligent. Feral pigeons have also been trained to differentiate between different artists. Some of the big artists, they can tell up one painting from another. So they are smart. I do believe pigeons are very underrated, and I honestly believe one day they're going to be in that top 5 of intelligent birds, you know, not far away from the parrots, the crows, the starlings. They're definitely up there. They're just a unique little bird, and I love working with pigeons, absolutely do. These are just going to be great little additions to my flock. Can't wait to get going with these two. I haven't got any names yet. I'm waiting. I'm going to do a DNA test because I do want to know if they are boy, girl, brothers, sisters. It's always helpful later on. Although, you know, at a certain age, you know your pigeons and you can tell. At the minute, if I'm guessing, I think I've got a boy and a girl, but I'm not 100% sure. So a DNA test, we will do one of those. And as I've indicated, one of them will be living with me for a year. I'm going to train it, and we'll see what the intelligence is like in the little one. I sometimes also get asked what is my smartest, most intelligent bird that I have at the moment, and one of my birds sticks out. It's my little mate Hurley. He's phenomenal. When I had him indoors, he was just great. He would hunt down my little clicker and he would want to get going. He'd want to get going with the training, and he was just so enthusiastic. He's just a miles ahead of the other. My second bird is Freckles, but Hurley, the homer, definitely the homer in him, made him stick out from my others. Something else I'd like to address, I see it on some of the social media comments that you have to make a pigeon hungry to do something. That annoys me, because it's mainly non-pigeon people saying this. My pigeons, I feed them, I like them to graze all through the day, so I give them far more food than they really need. I like to see that bit extra food left in the mornings or the next day. They're very much like children. You give children, say here in the UK we have a Sunday roast. You could give a child a Sunday roast and they've still got room for sweets. And it's the same with these birds. What I don't like to give them, I only give them on training days, is their treats, which is sunflower hearts and peanuts. And they go mad for them. But their food, they have their food 24/7, their water, their grits. So you don't have to make a pigeon, leave a pigeon hungry to do. If they don't, listen, look, my boy Hurley, if he didn't want to train that day, he wouldn't train. He absolutely refused. It was nothing to do whether he was hungry or full up or whatever. If he wanted treats, if he didn't want to do it, he didn't want to do it. It's these birds, you know, I know in birds of prey they're trained at meal times and that, but pigeons, no, they're like dogs, puppies. You don't miss meals to train a puppy or a parrot, or they're exactly the same. So no, the birds get fed, they graze all through the day. I give them, once they know their treats are available, they start doing it. It's the way they are, they love doing it. Like I said, my boy Hurley, he was great, but I will say with Hurley, when he got into a mature state, when he got to adulthood, he wanted to do lesser training. I think it was time. He was telling me he wanted to go outside, and I paired him up, obviously. And yeah, I think with the females, I love working with the female pigeons. They haven't got that bolshiness and, you know, that maturity that the males have of dancing a belt, and they don't get aggressive. They get extremely playful. I know some hand-reared pigeons can get aggressive, but they want to dance and showboat and that rather than train. So I think keeping a male, you know, for a year or so in training, then let him pair up. I think that the reason I say pair up, because I think a pigeon that's bonded to you will respond to training. Although I have had two, and I've trained to it once, it can be done. But if anyone asked me what the best pigeon was to train out the sexes, I would say females. They're totally different. They're, like I say, they're not that bolshy dancing around showing off and whatnot. Females tend to be, they love their strokes and that, and I know people are going to say so do my male birds. My male birds do as well, but the females seem to have a special bond that in my experience, all my girls have had a bond with me. It's been special. I am secretly hoping one of these are a girl, but you know, I have what it is, and nature is what it is. If they're two boys, brilliant, but if there is a girl amongst them, it's going to make things even more special for me, because like I say, I love training the female pigeons. They're brilliant. So this was a bit of an introduction to my new latest birds to my flock. And we all hope to see you soon.